الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. All praise belongs to Allah, Lord of the world. Blessings and salutations upon the noblest of messengers, the Prophet, our leader, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and on his family and on his companions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us to gather in the best of places, which is His house, the best of days, which is Yom al-Jumu'ah, in the best of months, which is the month of Ramadan, and this is the last Jumu'ah of the blessed month of Ramadan, also called Jumu'ah al-Wida, the farewell Jumu'ah. Like the Prophet said, Hajj al-Wida, he gave his farewell, he did his one and only Hajj, and he gave his Khutba at that, which is called Khutba al-Wida. So this is a very blessed time that we reach today, is inshallah the 26th of Ramadan, today will be the 27th night, which is also a very blessed night, and everyone, given the fact that it's a Friday night in our schedules, everyone is exceptionally encouraged to please try to make an effort to come to the house of Allah, to come to the masjid and spend some time, do some dhikr, stand, do some qiyam, do some alfar, etc., etc. I want to talk about three things for my book today in the interest of time. The first is, when we talk about the messages of Ramadan, now we're at the tail end of Ramadan, so we reflect on what have we learned about ourselves. And one of the secrets that I can share with you that was addressed to me by my teachers was, Ramadan ultimately is, first and foremost, first and last, right? Awwal al-akhir is about your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the idea of nisbah that our Mashayikh talk about. Nisbah is mentioned again and again in the Quran and the Hadith, in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the connection, the relationship a person has with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That every servant of Allah has to develop in the course of their life. And one of the profound lessons and blessings of Ramadan is, Allah Ta'ala gives us an opportunity, unlike any other opportunity. Why? لَأَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may develop taqwa with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now taqwa is a beautiful concept. We've talked about it many times in the khutbah here. For our purposes, I'm going to give an operational definition, and then I'm going to go on to my next point. Taqwa is easily or essentially understood as this. Whatever brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever nurtures your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever strengthens your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He wants, in His book and through the sunnah of Habibullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is a part of taqwa. And whatever the converse is, whatever distances you, whatever alienates you, whatever furthers you from your nisbah, with your connection with Allah, if you avoid that, that is the path of taqwa. So just to repeat that, whatever gets you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with what He wants you to do and what He wants you to avoid, that path is the path of taqwa. And related to that, it's like a DNA helix, right? It's intertwined. By you moving away from whatever distances you from Allah, the muharramat, the munkarat, the evil things in this world, if you make an intentional effort to distance yourself from those things because they distance you from Allah, that is the path of taqwa. This is the khulasa, this is the summary of what our teachers have taught us. Now there's a beautiful narration that I'll mention, and then I'll go on to my next point. Once, and this is it's a very famous, mashhur narration. Once Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar was sitting in his majlis, with his students, with his friends, with his companions, and he asked one of the Sahaba, he said, tell us, what is taqwa? And this Sahabi said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, have you ever walked on a thorny path? And he said, Na'am, yes. He said, what did you do when you walked on a thorny path? And Sayyidina Umar said that when you have your rida, when you have your outer garment, you pull it close like this. Because you don't want the thorns of the branches or the bushes to snag on your clothes. And he says, this is taqwa. This is the meaning of taqwa. This is the essence of what taqwa is that when you walk the pathways of this world, in your life, in this dunya, there will be many thorns that you will find that will come. Thorns through your wealth, thorns through the society, thorns through your own health or sickness. Many things will affront you in this world. And how you navigate and walk the paths of those things that come to you in your life, that will determine whether you are walking the path of taqwa or not. So inshallah, I just wanted to start with that so that we remember this. The second point I want us to remember in Ramadan is that we are all stronger than we think we are. And let me explain what I mean by that. We are all stronger than we think we are. Because 11 months of the year, I don't know about you, but I'll talk about myself. I know how much I feel the need to eat, how much I feel the need to sleep, how much I feel the need to goof off and to waste my time. And what is the beauty of Ramadan? What is the barakah of Ramadan? Ramadan teaches you a very deep lesson about yourself. You can get by with less food. You can get by with less sleep. You can get by with being more mindful of your time and wasting less of your time. And you thrive. Not only you thrive, you flourish in Ramadan. Now part of that is the special rahmah and barakah that Allah Ta'ala sends in Ramadan. But even there, there's a secret. Allah Ta'ala wants to tell you, I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to lock up the shayateen. I'm going to close the gates of Jahannam and I'm going to open the gates of my Jannah to encourage you, to motivate you, to inspire you, to show you what you're capable of deep inside your heart. And that what's in your heart, in Ramadan, you water it. Right? And then the seeds begin to grow. And not only they grow, but they flourish, they thrive. And then by the time we get to now the 27th, 28th, 29th nights of Ramadan, you're inshallah seeing all of the, inshallah, you're seeing the fruits of your labors. You're seeing the fruits of all of the efforts, all the nightless, the sleepless nights that you've been standing, all of the hunger and the thirst that you've been going through, all of the khairat you've been doing, the sadaqah you've been giving. Now you're seeing the fruits of that. And inshallah, that's going to lead us up to Eid. The last point that I want to spend time with you, which I'm going to spend a little bit of time unpacking, is this. You know, our scholars say if you really want to understand the message of Ramadan, it's this. If you live your life like Ramadan, then your death will be your Eid. If you live your life like Ramadan, then your maut will be your Eid. If you live your life like Ramadan, what is Ramadan? Ramadan is about conscientiousness. Ramadan is about concentration. Ramadan is about discipline. Ramadan is about restraint. Out of all of the distractions, all of the temptations, all of the allurements of the dunya that are out there, right? Ramadan is when you found it in your heart, in your soul, in your body to say, you know what? From Fajr until Maghrib, I can do without this. Day after day after day, in my day, and night after night after night. You're absolutely capable of it. That's what Ramadan shows you. And Allah says, I'm going to make it easy for you for 30 days. So that you learn that you can grow into this, and that's how you can begin to live the rest of your life. And even there, why is there such a secret to Ramadan? Because Allah says, this isn't a one-time thing. Every year, for however many years I've destined for you, I will give you this opportunity again and again and again. Why? Because, for some of us, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's the nature of dunya. Right? There's a beautiful hadith. This is a very profound hadith, as all the hadith are. Imam Bukhari said, the Prophet said, the khulasa of which, the summary of which is this: if you didn't commit sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would replace you and would send a qawm that would commit sins and would make tawbah to Allah, and that would increase the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you didn't commit sins, why? Allah ta'ala does not expect or demand perfection from us. That's what we have to remind ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, desires, expects effort from us. I cannot answer that for you. Your loved ones cannot answer that for you. Only you can answer that for yourself. How much effort have you put in? And how much effort do you think you're capable of putting in even beyond that? And Ramadan is literally the laboratory, the opportunity that Allah said, now show me what you're capable of. And this is why the beautiful hadith I just quoted the other day in our halaqah here, that there's 2 joys of the fasting person. Right? It's very much hadith. 2 joys, moments of pure happiness for the one that's fasting. One, which we understand, the moment of iftar. The moment of iftar, of that hunger, that fatigue, that thirst. After 16 hours, 17 hours. And when you bring that cup of water, that cup of milk, or that date to your mouth, only you know what it feels like at that moment. Allah Ta'ala is aware of this. Allah Ta'ala is telling through Nabi Kareem Sallallahu is that is a moment of pure happiness in this life. Unrivaled by few things in this world. And what is the second moment of happiness? When the servant meets Rabbul Alameen Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I can't tell what that will be like for you. I can only pray that it's a joyous, momentous, epic day for you. Just like I hope and pray for myself that it's the most epic day of my life. When I go to meet Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, with showing Him, the meager, paltry things that I was able to bring. But I hope that through the course of my life, that there was ikhlas. That's what Allah Ta'ala wants to see from us. Did you do it with ikhlas? I'm going to just give another narration, and then I'm going to end with 2 stories in just a moment. Our scholars have said, this is the summary of what's written in so many of the books of our teachers, is that, and this comes actually from a very famous part of the Hikam by Ibn Atal al-Skandari, right? I'm summarizing it here. He says, how many great deeds are ruined because of a bad niyah? And how many, quote, small deeds are made epic and made enormous because of a pure deed? And I'll say that again. How many seemingly momentous, grandiose deeds are made worthless, are nullified because of a bad niyah, because they were devoid of ikhlas. They weren't done for the sake of Allah, they were done for anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for riyah, for ujab, right? Khutba. This is what the diseases that we talk about, right? Conceitedness, ostentation, arrogance, showing off to the people, showing off to yourself, feeding your nafs, feeding your ego. And then Ibn Allah says, how many things that are there that are small in this world that are made great in the eyes of Allah by the ikhlas that's in them. You know, once we talked last week about infaq, about spending in the fi sabilillah, the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a very famous story. One time Rasulullah he put out an open call for people to bring sadaqah and to give sadaqah for the fi sabilillah, to support the deen. And they said that there was a man who came, and this is in the narration, he came with a tray of gold nuggets. I want you to imagine, I can't imagine, but I want you to imagine the wealth that was on that tray. A tray full of gold, nuggets or ingots. And the Prophet accepted it from him, made dua for him, and put it onto the pile. Later that day, a sahabi came, Miskeen sahabi came, and he brought a tray of what? What do you think? A tray of dates. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this is all I can give. Peace be with Allah. And the Prophet, when he saw it, he smiled, and he made dua for him. And the Prophet later on said, Wallahi, I don't know which will be worth more on the mizan, on the scale of judgment, on the scale on the day of judgment. I don't know which one will be heavier, will be more weighty on the day of judgment. The tray of gold or the tray of dates. Because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the niyyah, the ikhlas, the sincerity inside the person's heart. The ikhlas that is your connection, is your nisbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this world, the book of Allah is part of your connection to Allah. Your salah is a part of your connection to Allah. Your fasting in Ramadan is a part of your connection to Allah. Your birrul walidain, your honor and respect to your parents is a part of your nisbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your fighting for social justice and against racism and against all these scourges in the modern world. This is a part of your nisbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ramadan is the time in which you look deep into your heart and you say, how do I need to reassess, reevaluate, recalibrate my life to make strong this nisbah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because ultimately that's what it's all about. So going back to what I said before, if you imagine, Eid is a gift. This is part of the beauty of the deen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us through Habibullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You've struggled, you've striven, you put in the hard work, and now you deserve a reward. And that reward is your Eid. And Imam Bukhari relates the hadith that Eid is the day of three things: eating, drinking, and making dhikr of Allah. This is the day that, mashallah, this community does this very beautifully, right? Making it enjoyable, making it attractive, making it pleasing and attractive to all of our youth, to the elders and to the youth and to the entire community. We need to beautify our Eid, especially in these lands. Why? Because we're living in a time now that Islam is very quickly evaporating from too many of our communities and our lives. And to diagnose that is a whole other conversation. But suffice it to say, this is the time in which we need to bring the ihsan, the beauty of our deen, out, not just to the non-Muslims. There's a time and a place for dawah, when you make things beautiful, how you present the deen, how you speak about the deen, and how you showcase the deen. But, I would perhaps argue, even more importantly, is how we do ihsan for our own mu'mineen wal mu'minat. Because there are a lot of wounded hearts out there. There are a lot of broken hearts out there in our communities that feel alienated from our masajid, that feel alienated from our communities, that don't, for whatever reason, that's another conversation for another time, that are not being welcomed into our places. And so ihsan, part of the ihsan is making it beautiful to welcome in our brothers and sisters. On that note, let me just say, this is part of the hikmah of sadaqatul fitr, or zakatul fitr. Is that every person, every household is wajib, it's compulsorily on them, or the head of the household, to give their sadaqatul fitr before the salatul Eid. Part of the reason is, what I spoke about last week is, so that those funds are distributed to the masakin, to the less fortunate, to the marginalized, and the dispossessed in our community, so that they can benefit and enjoy the happiness of Eid. Everything in our deen, brothers and sisters, has such a beautiful hikmah. If we only took the veil off of our eyes and understood that these things resonate not just at the physical level. It's not just you giving money, your $10 per person and have some households so that they can have nice baklava and some nice chai and have a nice kurta on Eid. That's part of it. I'm not denying that. But what these things do, they resonate beyond the material world. This is how you build your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you and I may see the benefit of our deeds in this world. Allahu Akbar. But you have to believe. You have to have yaqeen. You will see your deeds manifest on Yawm al-Qiyamah and in your qabr. Which goes back to what I was saying before. Live your life like Ramadan, and your death will be your Eid. Eid will be the day of, the day of beating your Rabb. What do we make? This is what we talked about in the midnight lecture a few days ago. One of the greatest du'as that you can make, that every one of us especially has to make in these days, is Husn al-Khatimah. Ya Allah, give us Husn al-Khatimah. Ya Allah, give us Husn al-Khatimah. Ya Allah, give every mu'minah Husn al-Khatimah. Because that is how you want to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is your transition into the next realm, into the alam al-barzakh. And everything that you did here, all your siyam, all your qiyam, all your dhikr, all your awrad, all your salah, all of your sadaqah, all of your fighting against bullying and oppression in this world, you will see those deeds will be manifest to you in your qabr. None of us have been there, but this is described to us by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which we don't have time to go through all the dalail, all the proof right now. But suffice it to say, the hadith are full of examples of your good and your bad deeds will come to life, will be made manifest to each and every one of us in the qabr. So in conclusion, I want to leave you with two stories that relate to this idea. Once when this is tangentially related, but you'll see where I'm going with this in a moment. This is the month of dua, and this is the month of rectifying relationships. I'll speak more about this later tonight in the lecture. Hopefully you can all come. It's the 27th tonight. We should all make an extra effort to come to stand in the house of Allah tonight. But this is the month of repairing relationships. Right? Ramadan is about checking yourself. It's about checking, not just about fasting from your stomach and your mouth. Ramadan is about fasting from your eyes, of your ears, of your eyes and your tongue, of how you deal with people, of not getting agitated, not backbiting people, doing etc., etc. One of, if not the greatest relationship in this dunya that you and I can ever dedicate ourselves to repairing is a relationship with your parents, with walidain. So once Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting with two extraordinary people, with Hazrat Umar radiallahu anh and Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh. And he said to Hazrat Umar radiallahu anh, he said, after my time, after I leave, there will come a man in your time. And he looked at Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh. A man will come in your time, and he will be from the land of Yemen, and he will be from the tribe of Qarn. And he went through and described his lineage. He'll be from this family, this clan, etc. And he even described him. He will be a man of dark complexion, and he will have a scar on his back that's discolored from the rest of his skin. And this man's name is Uwais al-Qarni. And when you see this man, this is the ta'aleem, this is the education of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, when you see this man, you have to ask him for dua. Who is he saying this to? He's saying this to Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, a man that by the blessed words of the Prophet is already Jannati. He's already guaranteed the Jannah with the 10 promised people Jannah. If it was someone like me, you'd have to check your nafs to be like, I know my status. Why do I have to go ask someone else for help? So that's the difference between us and them. Sayyidina Umar says, Naam, Ya Rasulullah, of course, Ya Rasulullah. And so now Rasulullah dies. Sayyidina Bakr radiallahu anhu is the Khalifa. Sayyidina Bakr radiallahu anhu dies. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu is the Khalifa. Every year when he was the Khalifa at Hajj, he would go to Makkah Mukarramah, and all of the Hujjaj were assembled. He would address them. All of the Hujjaj are there, and he would say to them, all of the people from Yemen stand up. Everyone else would stay standing, and everyone from Yemen, the Jamaat of Hujjaj from Yemen would stand up. And then he would look at them, and he would say, all of the people from this tribe remain standing, everyone else sit down. And then people would sit down. All of the people from this clan remain standing, everyone else sit down. He would do it every single year. Why? Because he was looking for this man. He was searching for Uwais al-Qarni. And years would go by. Every year Hajj would do this until finally one year he's standing. He's an old man now. He's standing with the Hujjaj, and he goes through the whole list. And he says, the people from Yemen remain standing. The people from this region of Yemen remain standing. And this reminds me of all of the du'as that we should be making, especially in these blessed days and nights. Let us remember the people of Yemen that are suffering an unjust, oppressive war, that are being starved to death in front of our eyes, what's being called by the non-Muslims the greatest humanitarian famine that's taking place in the modern world right now. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate the oppression and the load that's being wreaked havoc upon the people of Yemen. Yemen is a blessed land. It was mentioned by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was made dua for by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we don't want to be on our watch. We don't want to be people that stand by and see innocent men, women, and children literally being starved to death in front of our eyes. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He alleviates the suffering and that He brings justice to the zalim. Ameen. Now what happens? 1 year, Sayyidina Umar was asking the people to sit down, sit down. There's one man that remains standing. And Sayyidina Umar sees this one man and he goes running to him. And he runs and runs and runs. And he goes to him and he says, "Are you from the Yemen?" He says, "No, yes." "Are you from this tribe?" He's like, verifying all this information. And he says finally, "Is your name Uwais?" And he says, "No, my name is not Uwais." And Sayyidina Umar gets deflated. And he says, the man says to Sayyidina Umar, he says, "Why are you looking for Uwais?" He says, "Do you know this man?" He says, "Yeah, he's my nephew." He says, "Where is he?" He says, "In fact, he's at Hajj this year." And Sayyidina Umar gets very excited. He says, "Where is he? Where is he? I'm looking for him." He says, "Oh, he's like a faqir. He doesn't do much with the dunya. He's out there with his sheep under the tree praying salah." And Sayyidina Umar then runs in Mina. He runs to the place and he sees Uwais al-Qari is praying salah. And Sayyidina Umar sits behind him and waits for him to finish his salah. Right next to him is who? None other than Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. And he finishes his salah and he turns around, he says salam to the man. He says, "Assalamu alaikum." He says, "Take off your shirt." And now the man is like, "What? I've never met you before." He doesn't know that he's talking to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. He's never seen him before. He says, "Take off your shirt." And he says, "Excuse me?" Like paraphrasing, "What do you mean?" Sayyidina Ali says to him, "Look, just do it. It'll be better if you do it. It's all going to go down easier for everybody." So he lifts up his shirt, and lo and behold, the man is in dark complexion. His name is Uwais, from the tribe of Qarn, from the land of Yemen, and he has a birthmark on his shoulder. And Sayyidina Umar immediately says, "You have to make dua for me and my family, and for my companion and his family," which is Ahlul Bayt. And then he says, "Why?" And he says, "Because we were sitting with Habibullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam so many years ago, and he foretold your coming. And he said, you are a man that when you lift your hands in dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you everything you ask for before you put your hands down from your dua." And we asked him, we said, "Ya Rasulullah, what is so special? What is so extraordinary about this man that's not from amongst us, that will come after your time?" That is his nisbah with Allah. That's his connection with Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, this is a man who dedicated his life to taking care of his mother. And this was so beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was so precious to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala said, if this man asks me for anything when he lifts his hands up, I will never let him put his hands down without granting him his du'as. That is the power, brothers and sisters, of repairing your relationship, of birrul walidain, of honoring your elders, especially your parents. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed month. If your parents are alive, we pray to Allah that Allah ta'ala repairs your relationship. Allah ta'ala lets you be the best son or daughter that you could possibly be to your mother and father. If your parents have passed in this world, we pray to Allah that He eases their time in the qabr, in the barzakh. We pray to Allah that Allah ta'ala grants them Jannatul Firdaus without hisab kitab. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. The final story I want to tell you on this theme of today's khutbah. Live your life like Ramadan, one of discipline, one of conscientiousness, one of restraint from all of the temptations of the dunya, to the best of your ability, with applause. You're not perfect, I'm not perfect. But if you try, Allah Ta'ala sees every effort that you make. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, as long as you're making forward progress. Right? Then your death will be it will be the day of celebration for you. When Rasulullah ﷺ was in his final illness, Rasulullah ﷺ was in the house of the Hujra, the apartment of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha. On the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, it was a Monday morning, there was a knock at the door. And someone asked for permission to enter. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, who is it? And the voice came back, this is Jibreel alayhi salam. And Jibreel alayhi salam, and the Prophet asked if other people, Sayyidina Aisha was there with him, and the Prophet was lying in the Mubarak lap of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha. And he says, is this Jibreel at the door? And they said, that's what's the voice coming from behind the door. And then they said, what does he want? And Jibreel alayhi salam said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm asking permission to enter into your house. And the Prophet said, give him permission, let him come in. And Jibreel alayhi salam came into the house. And he said, the Malik al-Maut is waiting. And the Malik al-Maut asked permission to come in. And the Prophet said, the angel of death is waiting out there. And Jibreel says to him, this angel has never asked permission to enter anyone's home in all of history. But Ya Rasulullah, he's asking permission to come into your house. And the Prophet said, let him come in. And the angel of death came in. And the angel of death said, Ya Rasulullah, I come to you from Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the Lord of the worlds, to ask you if you want to go. And the Prophet said, have you ever asked this from anyone else? He says, no one else has ever been given this choice. He says to Jibreel alayhi salam, what do you think? And Jibreel alayhi salam said, Ya Rasulullah, Allah Ta'ala wants you. Allah Ta'ala is waiting for you. And then Rasulullah said, I don't want to keep my beloved waiting. Then I'm ready. And the Malak took the soul of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there's much story that happened afterwards. The question, this is my last one. The question you and I have to ask ourselves. Do you want to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Are you ready to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And I don't ask that in a morbid way. I ask that in a very real way. If Ramadan is your life, and Eid is your death, and Eid is a few days away, a few moments away from us, are you ready to leave this world and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because Rasulullah said, Allah loves to meet anyone that wants to meet Him. And Allah Ta'ala hates meeting anyone that hates to meet Him. When Sa'd ibn Mu'adh died, when they took his janazah, Rasulullah said to all of the people at his janazah, he said, the arsh of Allah is shaking right now. And the Sahaba were dumbfounded. The arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's carried by 70,000 angels, that's upheld by 70,000 angels, is shaking because of the love that Allah has for this one person. Sa'd ibn Mu'adh. So to ask yourself, how do you want to leave this world? How do you want to spend your Ramadan? And how do you want to spend your Eid? Let us ponder upon those in the last few days that we have left of Ramadan. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives our sins. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts our qiyam. We pray to Allah that He accepts our siyam. We pray to Allah that He accepts our tilawat al-Quran. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts all of the good that we attempted this month. We pray to Allah that He overlooks the deficiencies of our deeds and makes them beautiful and accepts them from us. We pray to Allah that He eases the suffering of all of the mu'mineen wal mu'minat, salihin wa salihat in China, in Myanmar, in Yemen, in Syria, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Shishan, in Kashmir, in Somalia, in Sudan, in Mozambique, and any other place that anyone is suffering. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Arhamar Rahimeen, the Lord of the world, the most merciful of those who show mercy, Akram al-Akrameen, the most generous of those who are generous, to ease in these blessed days and nights the pain and suffering of anyone that's suffering anywhere in this world. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فيا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقوا أنفسكم نارا أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الأمين أما بعد يا معاشر المسلمين قال تعالى في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وسلم اللهم صل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى سائر الصحابة والتابعين وعلى آله الصالحين اللهم أجرنا من النار اللهم أجرنا من النار اللهم أجرنا من النار ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقيموا الصلاة